Alright guys, hope you're all doing well, hope you're all keeping safe. Today I wanted to discuss the possibility that we may be going back to the original New York map from The Division with some in-game evidence found within the Faye Lau Manhunt Mission and speculation, of course. Year 3 is looming. And when I say looming, I mean coming at some point this year. Still unknown. Right now we've had no further updates, so could be at the end of this year, it could be in the next couple of weeks, who knows. Also, the video does assume we are getting a new location for Year 3, which I think we are. With that said, let's get straight into this one. Drop a like and subscribe to stay up to date with all the videos, and let's begin. If you watched my video last Tuesday, you would have seen me run through the Faye Lau Manhunt Mission, and of course be pretty disappointed, as most people were. Now after that video, I did intend to kind of run back through it and have a look around, see what I could find, if anything, but unfortunately I ended up actually resetting the whole manhunt. So that's why it's actually taken me a while to make this video and kind of get it out to you guys. I had to run back through all of the manhunts again, which even on normal difficulty wouldn't take me too long. You know, it'd probably take me a day or so, but it took me a lot longer because I just couldn't be asked, to be honest. Once you've gone through them once, you don't really want to go through them again. And so, yeah, it's taken me a little while. Apologies for that. Now, having run back through the mission, the Faye Lau mission, there's two things which I found interesting. One of which I will save for a future video about Faye Lau herself. And the other I found interesting and wanted to make this video on today. Now, if you haven't done the Faye Lau mission yet, this might be a spoiler, so that's your warning, basically. Although I do suspect most of you, if not all of you, have done that already. So if you go back through the mission and you get to the cabin, you will have probably headed to the back of the room where President Ellis lies, deceased, and collected the Langley report, something I didn't do on my first run. If you watched my video, you would have seen me talk about the fact that I didn't have the Langley reports, and it wasn't until after that video that someone told me they were there, and now that I've gone back through it, I've now collected them. Now, what you might not have done is actually looked at the laptop on the desk, and this is what I find interesting. Here's the image of what is shown, or here's the gameplay of what is shown, and as you can see, there is a map, and there are some numbers. The numbers keep changing, the map changes, but the actual whole map doesn't change at all. What I find interesting is the map itself, which not only shows the New York map from the Division 2 towards kind of the left, but it also shows the original Division map all the way up to Central Park. Now, of course, this could be nothing. It's probably nothing, to be honest. We know from the recent statement that Title Update 12 was due to be the last major update for the Division 2, and based on kind of how the Faye Lau mission played out, it does appear Massive had given up with this mission, so it doesn't really make much sense for them to then include a laptop with hints to us going back to New York in a Year 3 scenario. But they also did include the Langley reports, which, you know, they're a set of communications revealing how the green poison is affecting the whole world, which, if you listen to them, to me, was intentional. And I believe they were there to leave the door open for any future titles within the franchise. You know, they could look back and go, look, you know, we have these Langley reports, and now we're moving to Europe. That's where the green poison's gone, and that's where we're going to create a Division 3. So I believe they were there for that very reason, to leave that kind of door open. I think the laptop may have been there for the same reason. I can't quite believe that the Massive didn't implement some in place just in case they had to make a Year 3 or a Year 4. And I think the laptop may have been there for that reason. I know I'm probably reaching here, guys, but outside of this, there are actually plenty of reasons why Massive would go back to the original New York map. So firstly, the New York map we have in the Division 2 is not that far from where the Division map ended. In fact, having done some Google Maps investigation, you know, it's literally minutes from where the Division 2 map ends in the top right hand corner to where the Division map starts at the bottom. So it would be easier for the devs to just expand the current New York map into the old Division map as new content, rather than create a whole new area, something that I just don't think is going to happen. I don't foresee them expanding anything from Washington D.C. If they are going to do any kind of expansion, I do think it will be New York. That just makes sense to me. and it makes sense that they expand into the Division and don't make anything else. If TD12 was due to be the end, there's just no way the devs are going to create a whole new area from scratch in months. But what they can do is they can take existing assets from the Division, spruce them up, and make them fit into the Division 2 theme. What I do think, though, is if the devs went this route, which is what I believe they're going to do, we're not going to get the snow. I think I read somewhere that this having the snow in the game is a huge undertaking. Like if you wanted to change the environment completely from like snow to like really sunny and stuff, that's quite a huge undertaking. You've only got to look at games like Destiny 2, which have taken like 6 years to include some kind of environmental snowstorms, to realise how much of an undertaking that is. So if we are going back to the original map, I do think the current weather system is going to follow. And, you know, that would make sense as well within the time constraints the devs have. Secondly, I cannot foresee a Division 3 for a long while, if ever, at this point. If we are getting one, I don't think it will be for another probably 3 to 5 years at least. And especially when you consider that Massive are going to be working on Star Wars and Avatar, right? Star Wars is probably going to be a 3-year project, if not longer. Avatar's coming out within 2 years. And if Star Wars does very well, which I suspect it probably will do, then they are going to keep making that game. It could be that they then develop Star Wars and the Division 3, but that's at least 3 years away, at least. So it's probably not going to be 5 to 8 years if we do get another Division game. Now, with that in mind, I do think Year 3 will be more of a fan service, and I do think people who are currently playing the game would probably like to go back to the old map, if I'm being honest. If I was to put out a poll now, and I may even do that before this video goes live, I reckon most people would prefer to go back to the original map than have anything else. I also think it would sell the most at this point as well, something Ubisoft will have considered when instructing Massive to continue development here, because, let's be honest, what's happened is Avatar got delayed, and Massive will not be bringing in any money for a large period of time. So Ubisoft have told them they need to continue to develop the Division, get that bank, and then move on when it's the right time. Otherwise, it's not going to be at least 2 to 3 years before Massive are making any money for Ubisoft, and that's not about to happen. This means they are probably going to be giving players what they want, within reason, of course, because this is what's going to sell the most. And again, with that in mind, I wouldn't be surprised if Year 3 is focused on hunters, the only faction in the game that I think most people want a lot more of and want to know a lot more about. They're probably the only thing at this point is that Faye Lau seemingly is deceased, although that might not be strictly true. And they're probably the only enemies I think players would pay money to learn more about and fight more of as well. I mean, anyone still playing will likely buy a new DLC regardless of what the expansion is, because most people who are playing are hardcore players, right? They're people who've been here from day one and are not going anywhere unless the game severely they just drop the game altogether, and even then they'll probably still play the game. So they're probably going to buy a DLC anyway, but if it was a hunter-themed DLC, I think that most people are going to be excited for that, and I think most people will buy a DLC. I know I'm going a bit off point here, and this was going to be something I discussed in a future video anyway, but yeah, going back to my point, that's just a few reasons why I think we'll be going back to the old map, the old Division map. It makes sense. It absolutely does make sense. If it is last minute, which is how the devs have left it, although Trick has put out a tweet recently to suggest that they've been working on this a little while, I suspect they've been working on this since probably December time. So I think they're probably going to have, what, 6 to 9, 10 months to be able to create content for Year 3. In that time, I doubt very much they're going to be able to create a whole new map area. But I also don't think they're just going to do seasons or something like that, because I don't think that'll sell. I don't think if they just do seasons that's going to sell. And again, this is going to be a point made in a future video. It wouldn't make sense for them to invest any time into seasons, just seasons that is, because it wouldn't sell and it would be a waste of money for Ubisoft. What I do think they would do, though, is they'll go back to the original map, the original Division map, with those assets, spruce them up to the Division 2 theme, make some content around it, and I think people will buy that. So that's what I think is going to happen. But that's it, guys. Thanks very much for watching. Let me know what you think about that in the comments down below. I'll probably put out a poll anyway, so get involved in that. And until the next one, guys, epic out.